Hi guys, Peter here. Today we're going to go over the process of doing a new construction home in Southwest Florida. Assuming you already have financing or a way to fund this project, first thing you want to do is buy a lot, buy some land, or if you already have land, then you're ahead of the game. Next thing is hire an architect. So the architect you're going to need, because of the fact is you need a plan or some drawings for the builder to go by. Once you get your architectural plans back and they're signed and sealed, at that point you would shop around for the right builder to build the home. Or the other option is to find a builder that does provide their own plans. So there's plenty of builders out there that has their own plans and they only build the houses they offer. Once the builder receives the permit, at that point, that's when the action begins. Normally, you got the site prep. That's the first thing they do. That's whether they're clearing the lot, adding dirt, whatever they do. After site prep, you're gonna have the underground work. Normally the way it works is you'll have the concrete guys go out there, they'll form the whole slab area. Then you have the plumbers that will go there and run their underground plumbing. Sometimes they'll run electrical underground, or if you have an island, they'll go ahead and run electrical underground for the island. Just depends on how your house is designed. Once the underground work has been completed and everything's been done with the individual contractors, at that point they'll go ahead and backfill all the trenches that have been dug for the plumbing to be ran or whatever. They'll backfill it, they'll level all the dirt out, they'll go ahead and make it nice and smooth again, and then at that point they'll spray the soil with a termite spray. So once they saturate the dirt with that product, then they'll go ahead and cover that area with a vapor barrier. It's a plastic. Normally it's clear, but it just could be a different color, but just a specific thickness it needs to be. They'll cover all that area up and prepare for the foundation. Prior to them pouring the foundation, they're going to run rebar. This specific application is a monolithic slab. Sometimes you'll see stem walls, but for the most part, a lot of people do monolithic slabs. And a monolithic slab is a slab that is going to be normally about 4 inches thick, and then along the perimeter is going to be deeper. It could go from 16 inches deep all the way to 24 inches deep and 18 inches wide. It just depends on what the plans call for. The reason why they do that is so it could support the load-bearing walls. It's necessary to do that. If you do not do a monolithic slab or some type of stem wall, you legally cannot build anything that's load-bearing, at least here. At that point, the concrete comes in, it gets poured all at once, and since it's poured all at once and the foundation along with the footer is being poured all at the same time, that's what makes it monolithic, because it's one piece. Normally once the slab is poured, the block is delivered and also the trusses are delivered. So once the trusses and block are delivered, if you're working with the right contractor and they know what they're doing, normally the block guys are scheduled the next day. This specific contractor I worked with is on point. So once the block and the trusses are all delivered, the block guys are going to be scheduled. The walls are going to go up. With a monolithic slab, you could do wood frame as well. So it's not specific to a block wall. So you could do a wood frame. But this house's block walls, center block, the same thing with many other houses in the area. A lot of homes here are built with center block. Once the walls are up, at that point, the trusses will go up. Once the trusses are up, they'll go ahead and add the sheathing for the roof, and around that same time they're also framing the interior. So once everything is dried in, once all the plywood is on the roof covering it all up, they'll go ahead and frame the interior walls. Once everything is framed, now you got the trusses installed, you have the interior walls done. As far as framing, you end up seeing quite a bit of work done at that point. At that point, you're going to have the HVAC guys go in there. You're going to have the electric guys go in there. You're going to have the plumbers as well. They're all going to go in there and do their work. In most cases here, a lot of times the plumbing is ran in the attic. So all the pipes are ran in the attic or through the attic and through the walls. And they'll use PEX pipe here. And HVAC is normally ran in the attic as well. they'll go ahead and run the duct work. It's a flexible duct, and the electricians are going to run all their lines as well. Once everybody's done and everything has been inspected with HVAC, electrical, and plumbing, they'll go ahead and run the insulation around that same time as the insulation and the framing. The septic on this specific project got done around that same time. Everything will be insulated except the interior walls. The whole ceiling is going to be insulated. Interior walls are not going to be insulated. The exterior walls are going to have like a vapor barrier on there. It's not really insulation. The drywall ends up getting installed after the insulation. The mud gets done and the texture gets done. In this part of Florida, or in the state of Florida for the most part, a lot of times we're doing a texture on the walls here. They either do a knockdown, which is, it looks like globs on the wall and it's kind of smoothed out, or they'll do a skip trowel. Skip trowel I like better personally. So they always have some type of texture on the wall. Most people from up north or different parts of the state, they find that a little weird because they're used to seeing smooth walls. So some people like it, some people don't. But you'll don't be surprised when you see some type of texture and work done. If it's done right, it looks beautiful and it looks really good. But unfortunately, there's a lot of guys that are doing horrible jobs with this texture. Around the same time they're doing the framing, the texture, and all that, you're gonna notice that they're gonna be doing preparing for the stucco. In this specific project, it was around the same time they did the mud work or a little after. The interior normally gets painted after all the mud is done. The cabinets end up being installed. The exterior paint normally is getting done, and the floor and wall tile at this point on this specific project was done. Once the floor tile is done, normally around that same time or right after, you'll have the granite guys go in there, because the way it works is once the cabinets are installed, the granite guy is going to go there and get their template, and they're working on the granite. So around the same time the guys are working on the floor, the granite guys are preparing the countertops and all that. So by the time the floor is done, normally the granite guys go in there and they'll go ahead and install their granite. On the exterior, you'll see maybe that they poured the driveway and the walkway to the front door. This specific project they did. So like I said, the steps are going to be the same in all the home, in any house you see new construction. Now, what process they take is a little different. So everything that I just mentioned, if it's a block home with stucco, it's going to be the same thing. The only thing is, maybe the steps are a little different. Maybe instead of painting the house, interior of the house before they do the flooring, your contractor decides to do the flooring first because his flooring guy was available before the painting guy. I do not recommend that because it's more work for the painter, more opportunity to get paint on the floor. So I personally don't recommend that. I always recommend painting first, and then you do your flooring and then you trim and all that. But depending on the availability, especially now, contractors might have to take a little bit of different route for certain things. So these steps is not exactly a process that you have to take. It's just something that gives you an idea on normally how the process goes. But normally after around that same time of the driveway or after the driveway, you got the guys that will come out and do the fascia and the soffit. Then they'll go ahead and install the sod, and then finally you'll see that the whole house is done. The exterior will be painted, the driveway's in, the sod is in, and the house will look beautiful. And that's the time to celebrate, because now you say, okay, we went through all this process. I saw this from dirt to a final house, and it's very exciting to see those steps. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.